So first, let's look at the left side clearly. We have the service providers, which happens to be the same for either a urban or a rural. Whereas on the right side, we have a rural consumer and an urban consumer. I'll take a minute to talk about the urban consumer first, and then we'll talk about the rural consumer. If I look at the urban consumer, we have residents, small businesses, etc. So there are many consumers who exist, and they are looking for services from the service providers, who could be government, could be a private enterprise, could be an NGO, etc., etc. So they all have a host of services. Now, these services are clearly available in the form of digital services or what we call online services. Why? What are the characteristics or what are the enablers that have brought these services to the urban consumer today? It could be on an internet, on a PC, it could be on a mobile, it could be on a kiosk, and multiple channels this is available. It has happened largely because of 4 or 5 major factors. Let's look at internet connection, which is one of the critical parameters, but not everything. Internet connection, whether it is the BSNLs of the world or the private operators, there is a plenty of internet connection which is available today, which is at a very high bandwidth or a very huge speed bandwidth. Internet is not everything. We need to have the right kind of products and services that should be available, which will meet the needs of the consumer. That's very important. What are the needs of the consumer? Is it a household person? Is it a business? Or is it someone else? We need to have that understanding of what the demands are and then create the right services. I mean, if you take the example of whether it is, Amazon, whether it is Flipkart, or whether it is, Big Basket, everyone have thought through and created what is needed. What does the consumer need? Same way, government also has thought through and even created services like a property tax. That's something, really has made that services basket, a big basket where if you go into the internet world, you get all the services. You don't need to physically visit. So that's something very critical for the digital economy to pick up. The third driver, it's good you can pay some, taxes, you can collect some certificates. But what if the need to come and get delivered to physical underlying logistics that need to come in place? So you can sit and order, but someone has to pick up that product. If you have ordered a tube light, if you have ordered a mixer, if you have ordered some groceries, who will pick that up and deliver? There is an ecosystem of the logistic service provider that needs to be in place. That also has happened effectively in the urban area. Now, initially when we started, all of this was happening, but still we were paying in cash. But over a period of time, digital payment infrastructure has come in place. I'll not talk much about it. One of my colleagues would talk about, in detail, or co-panelists would talk about in detail.
Mr. Muralidharan, if I can, Mr. Muralidharan, if
as an Indian consumer,
Mr. Muralidharan, if you switch off your video, then your audio will become clearer, because sometimes we are not able to hear you very well, and maybe the bandwidth is an issue.
Sure. Is this better now?
Yes.
Okay. So an Indian consumer is very cost competitive. Unless they see a value for money, they will not go out. to the digital world to buy. So that's where, there has to be a right amount of competition also needs to come in place. And all of this has happened in the digital world, even to the extent the property tax today you pay, they also offer discount. I pay my property tax. If you give them before a certain date, they give a 5% discount. So that's the level of competitiveness that has come in. Overarching all of this is a digital literacy. People should know how to operate their digital devices. People should know how to pay. They should have a confidence that the whole system works. They will not be cheated. So all of these characteristics have really helped the urban consumer get all this e-service. If I compare the same with the rural consumer, if you see my the circles I have drawn, they are dotted, which means they are very whatever you get is in bits and pieces. So internet connectivity is available, but still we probably see 2G kind of connectivity or some places that also doesn't exist. So there is some amount of work, but the products and services which are very limited. Again, the rural consumer is quite different from an urban consumer. We need to understand the rural consumer is looking for agricultural services, looking for largely government services. Some amount of e-commerce definitely is needed, is something which is demand that exists. But unless you understand what the rural consumer needs, you will not have the same offtake as the urban. If you come and say that, okay, I have Flipkart, I'll offer this in rural areas, they may not buy it. They may not need that. So one needs to understand that very clearly. The third part is the underlying logistics. While a lot of delivery organizations came in place because of these Amazon, something like a delivery, many organizations which came up, which were really focused on building that back-end logistics for these e-service providers. But what is not visible is the same in the rural area. Something like in the state of Rajasthan, the CSCs have, the e-Mitras have tried to do that. So there is here and there some, models that exist, but largely these are something lacking. Last but not the least, the digital literacy. It is there. I am not saying it is not there, but it is confined to very few people who are acting as aggregators in rural areas, as against urban area where that digital literacy has democratized to a large extent. Any household, person can take a mobile phone and order what they would like. That still doesn't exist in the rural. See, this is where the divide, in these 4 or 5 parameters that I've tried to lay out, and to what extent it exists. While the consumer base is pretty large, 66% of our population still is in rural areas, it doesn't have that kind of access that is needed, services that is needed, underlying logistics, digital. So this is what is the digital divide is all about between the urban and the rural consumer. So what does this mean? Where does it give us opportunity? So can you move to the next slide, please, Chaitanya? Okay. So now here are the opportunities that it throws out for everyone to look at. First and foremost, the internet infrastructure. Government of India, with its large amount of funds towards the rural access network, has created a BharatNet program. It is a work in progress. That's something really needs to pick up, and there are talks with the government how private players can also play a bigger role in this, so that it can come up in the rural areas. That's a big opportunity that exists. Second, it is, we talked about little bit about aggregators exist. How do we increase these aggregators? Here is, an opportunity for the local entrepreneurs to be developed. It really addresses two issues. One, we talked about, one needs to understand the local consumer. One needs to really know the habits of the people, their, demands. They are the people, the SHGs, the village level entrepreneurs, what we talked in CSC. These are the ones who know very well, and they are really coming up in large numbers under the livelihood programs. If we can really develop them into entrepreneurs for providing digital services, that really is a big opportunity that exists from both sides, for the service providers as well as the local people whom we need to run this. Thirdly, the market for local products, we should really first focus on what is available locally, which will cut down the cost of the logistics, etc., etc. You can bring them later, but if you can really find market for the local product, then go to the next third is to market load products as well as bring products from outside. Fourth one, very important. Please go back. Dr. Chaitanya, can you please go back? Yeah, the fourth one, very important, is to really make sure that apps that are developed, the access points on the mobile app, it needs to be in the local language. It needs to understand the local. Otherwise, what has been developed for an urban consumer will not work. That's where again the local entrepreneur plays a much bigger role in terms of bringing, how do I make sure that the local people adopt. Last but not the least, digital payments can come in a big way and enable that what products and services. So here is a big set of opportunities. I'll just now talk about with one example how a bankable PPP model can be created given these opportunities. Dr. Chaitanya, can you go to the next slide, please? I'll ask you to click, then you can click because it has a little bit of slideshow. You know very well the fair price shops exist all over the country. We have almost about 550,000 or a 5.5 lakh worth of fair price shops across the country. People go, there is a set of consumers who go every month to buy products from them. However, what they get is only the rice and wheat in these. So how can we really look at enhancing a digital service here? So can you click on the next two buttons, please? Next two clicks. On the other side, we have a government which is keen to improve the nutrition basket of the rural consumer, rural people. They are thinking we are only giving wheat and rice. How do we give pulses? How do we give oil? How do we give other, nutritional products so that the health increase? At the same time, we have the FMCG companies and the e-tailers who are looking to reach the rural market. Okay. While fair price shop fellow is looking at how do I increase my sources of revenue. Next click, please. So all of them are thinking, how do we do this? So next click, please. So they're all thinking. One more. Now, if you see, I have purposefully put a POS device in the fair price shop. Today, we have almost 4.5 lakh out of the 5.5 lakh fair price shops are automated. They use this POS machine, which is connected to an internet, which can authenticate with Aadhaar and many other types of authentication. Can we connect this to the e-marketplaces that is? That's a much simpler, in that way, people at the rural consumer who are the captive consumers of these fair price shop, who come every month religiously to this shop, can buy many more products because it is on a e-commerce. Definitely there is a competitive ness that exists. You will get the maximum buck for what you are spending, and the e-tailers will get a much bigger logistic services that are needed, providers who are needed in the rural area. So this is one simple example of how we can use the existing infrastructure to create a bankable PPP model. This exists for, if you take agriculture services, if you take any other government services. I'm just sharing one example of how you can create a bankable model. With this, I pause, Dr. Shalini. I'm done with.
Thank you very much, Muralidharan. Just one question which keeps appearing in the chat box as well, and then I move over to